Councilwoman Jackson to do it again. And acceptance of agenda. Then we have our city manager report. He is not here, but we have.
Oh, that's good.
Well, I'm going to, thank you, Mr. Mayor, but I'm going to defer to our city manager. He does wish he could have been here today, but he got called to a Board of Supervisors work session in Bisbee. So I'm sure he would rather be here.
Yes, ma'am.
We're grateful that he's where he's at right now.
He is addressing some important regional water issues. He will be here on Thursday.
Thank you. And he'll give us a good brief back.
He will. Well, I'm sure.
Thank you so much. So our first item for tonight is ordinance 2025-003, the adoption of the development code text amendments article. And we have staff report. Mr. Pregler, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. As you recall, the City Council approved a 30-day public comment period for the proposed text amendments on May 8th, 2025. The city received 3 comments on the Sierra Vista Engage website, which have been provided in your packets. Approval of the ordinance will be the final adoption of these amendments. So staff would like to now provide you a brief summary once again of these code amendments. As a reminder, the proposed code amendments will improve efficiencies, clarify requirements, provide flexibility, and reduce unnecessary or obsolete regulations in the development code. So the First Amendment defines construction staging areas and temporary field offices, allowing entities such as utility companies to temporarily store equipment and materials or install temporary construction trailers or other temporary structures on vacant sites during the duration of construction. Now, there are a number of development standards that are being proposed for these types of uses, such as requiring screening, reduction of public nuisances such as dust, and timeline requirements. The second set of amendments relate to the sign code. First, the city is proposing an increase in sign height of up to 25% for the inclusion of architectural features. Next, the next change allows reductions or waivers to the 5-foot sign setback for existing signs and existing developed sites, where site constraints make the setback impractical. The next sign amendment expands the list of exempt signs to include things such as murals, statues, window signs, interior reader boards, directional signs, real estate signs, and company logo signs, just to name a few. Other sign amendments revise the standards for portable signs, which emphasize and require aesthetics and durability, and standards for feather banners were also created. Finally, the definition of directional sign was revised for clarity, and the definition of permanent sign was added. Now, the next proposed amendments discuss setbacks for semi-detached structures in single-family residential zoning districts. Now, the matrix of allowed uses permits semi-detached single-family residences in the SFR zoning district. However, current language requires a 5-foot setback on both sides of a residence. So to allow for semi-detached homes, an amendment is proposed stating that the 5-foot setback is only allowed on the end unit. Now, the next set of amendments relates to landscaping, walls, screening, and buffer. Now, this section only applies to new commercial, industrial, and apartment developments. So the first revision in this section requires that 25% of the landscaped area, which is 15% of the entire site, be shaded by trees within 10 years of planting. A second amendment requires a minimum of 3 different species of trees and 5 different species of shrubs or cacti be used in the landscaping area. Again, this amendment is to ensure that there's a diversity in the landscape area. Another amendment requires permeable hardscapes such as decomposed granite within all non-vegetated areas. Additionally, landscape rock is to be earth tone in color, a minimum diameter of 1/2 inch in diameter, and a minimum depth of 2.5 inches, excuse me. Also, there shall be a minimum of 1 tree and 2 shrubs per landscape island. And finally, the minimum buffer chart has been removed and relocated into the individual zoning district sections so that developers can find all standards in one location. The next amendment focuses on residential conversions. Now, existing commercial buildings looking to keep the same number of units following a residential conversion often exceed density and the maximum units per building requirements. So to resolve this, staff is proposing amendments requiring the owner of a new commercial building, to apply for an existing commercial building, to apply for a conditional use permit in which a concept plan identifying property development standards such as density can be reviewed and ultimately approved by City Council. The final amendment addresses setbacks for attached carports and covered patios in manufactured home parks. Now, the width of the spaces and the size of the manufactured homes prevent some carports or covered patios from meeting the minimum 5-foot building setback. As a result, staff proposes reducing the building setback for carports and covered patios from 5 feet to 3 feet, which is the equivalent setback as a detached accessory structure. The fire marshal and building official support the amendment with the caveat that the carports and covered patios be made of fire-resistant materials to prevent the spread of fires. Staff is also proposing to remove language allowing detached garages and carports, again in manufactured home parks, to be relocated in front of a principal structure. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard these items at their March 25th and April 29th meeting. There was unanimous approval of all these amendments. This does conclude staff support, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments? Yes, sir.
Just one quick question. When it comes to the 4 times per year, per calendar year for the signs, special events or special times, is that something they have to get a permit for? Or is it just honor system that say you only do it 4 times per year, 21 days each?
Well, it really depends on the situation. A lot of times, for example, we have, like car dealerships will have special events at the mall, for example. If that's the case, they have all the dates in place. They can have one permit for all 4 dates.
Okay.
If they don't know the exact times and dates of those special events, they can come in and get another permit. Now, the permits are free, by the way. There's no fee for these special event permits. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
The question? Yes, ma'am.
Thanks for breaking that down and explaining to us that. And I wanted to thank Mr. Steve Saway for his comments. It's always nice when we do have public comments that come back. So I wanted to thank him for the comments that he did provide. And then one of the things that I had a question about was one of his comments about the single-family residence setbacks was his concern about the 0 side yard setback and how it would be, it might be too close for like the neighbors. So I just had a question about that.
Right. So I thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Landry. I believe his concern really had to do with the increase in density in single-family residential zoning districts, thinking that with the 0 lot line, that there'll be an increase in density in these types of zoning districts. In reality, first of all, I would say that this use is already allowed by right in the SFR zoning district. All we're doing is really just trying to try to relieve an oversight in the development code because there was no 0 lot line setback for semi-detached dwellings. So that's simply what this amendment is relating to. However, in terms of the bigger picture, his question about increasing density. So single-family detached dwellings really allows the developer additional flexibility in terms of the housing types that can be developed in single-family residential. For a number of years, it was simply a single-family lot with setbacks on each side. This allows the developer to provide maybe smaller homes on smaller lots, still in single-family residential, but in this case, there'll be a 0 lot line because they'll be attached on one side and detached on the other side. So that's kind of the explanation for allowing these single-family, semi-detached homes in these zoning districts. Sure.
Others? Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. And we go to our next resolution, Resolution 2025-043. Staff report, Ms. Kenny.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. I'm here to present to you the proposed changes to the personnel rules and regulations. Since I took over in the HR role, myself and my staff have taken upon ourselves to review every section of the PR&Rs, we call it, and update them for standard current practices. So this is our first meeting with you. We hope to bring new and changes again and again, but this is our first changes. And in this report, we have 4 proposed sections that we made changes to. I apologize, it looks like I did a typo. It says 3 sections, but there's actually 4. The first one is Rule 1. We're correcting a lot of commas and periods, so if you saw the track changes, there were lots of commas and periods throughout the document. But in Section 4, which is the general provision section, we're adding language that alternates to the employee council will also be elected annually. And then we've added a section that if a representative of the employee council has 2 or more unexcused absences, they may be removed from the employee council. And that's to emphasize unexcused. If they call in and say, gee, I'm sick, or I'm at another meeting, that's excused. But if they just don't show up and don't send their alternate, that's considered unexcused. The second section is Rule 6 under performance evaluation. We've added an overview paragraph regarding the performance evaluation process, and also that employees may provide a written response to their performance evaluation within 5 business days of receiving the performance evaluation. The response shall remain part of the employee's personnel record. In addition, we clarified the definition of unsatisfactory performance evaluation, which is defined as an overall score of 2.4 or below. This practice has been used for many years, but the PRR previously just said unsatisfactory, but it didn't define what it was. So we have a numerical system of 4.0, and if you fall 2.4 or below, that is considered unsatisfactory. The third change is in Rule 15, employment records. And this entire section has been revised to define the documents that are to be included in a personnel file. Previously, we did not have any definition about what is exactly in the file. And also, the employee will be notified of any changes in their personnel file. And we also defined the documents to be included in a public records request. And lastly, we made a change to Rule 14 under safety and training. We added a new Section 3 that's added to describe the procedures that employees would use to prevent abuse, neglect, and exploitation of vulnerable persons. This was required by our insurance carrier because, as you know, we have many departments that deal with vulnerable people, which are mentally, physically handicapped children and adults. So that covers the gamut of employees from police to fire to Parks and Rec. And so our insurance carrier wanted us to define what training is required to make sure that any abuse or neglect or exploitation is prevented by our employees. And that's all I have today.
Thank you. Are there any questions, comments? All right. Thank you,
for
ma'am.
all your hard work.
Thank you.
And we go to our next resolution, 2025-044. Staff report, Ms. Elizabeth Rozak.
Mayor McCaw, members of council. Most of you know me as the Public Information Officer for the City of Sierra Vista. But today I come before you not in my role as a city employee, but as the Vice President of the Sierra Vista Historical Society. And I ask that you dedicate the Fab Avenue property as the Henry Jones Legacy Park. Henry Jones was a former Buffalo soldier. He joined the Army in 1911 and came to Fort Huachuca in 1913, at the same time as the names we so very much know, the Carmichaels, the Frys, who dot the names of our streets, our facilities, our county enclaves. Same time as them. He served in the Army with the 10th Cavalry, breaking horses and building homes for Apache Scouts. He deployed to France during World War I with the 93rd Infantry Regiment and fought for our country. He was later stationed at Fort Little in Nogales before returning to Fort Huachuca in 1933, where he continued to serve through another World War until 1947 when Fort Huachuca closed. Now, I don't know how much all of you know about our early history, but Sierra Vista was not the family-friendly place that it is today. A lot of our early pioneers, including the Carmichaels and the Frys, though becoming really great people and doing some great philanthropic work, actually profited from a lot of early illicit activities in our community. Illicit activities that continued through World War II, and really up until 1954 with the reactivation of Fort Huachuca and the arrival of General Lenzner, who Lenzner Street is named after, who really pressured us to get our act together. But at that time, in 1947, Henry Jones stayed in our community, and he was the one that our community turned to when they needed someone to secure their safety. At the time, the only law enforcement was in Tombstone, Arizona, with the sheriff's office. There was no local law enforcement, and with the fort closing and deactivating, a lot less priority was given to our community. And Henry Jones stepped up. He became the unofficial night watchman in the West End. He patrolled its streets for the residents and for the businesses for years when no one else was doing it. And people felt safer knowing that Pa Jones was on patrol. Now, he didn't look to be celebrated or honored in his lifetime, but we ask that you honor him today. When you look around at all of our facilities, our streets, very few, as far as I know for city facilities, only Hubert Tompkins Park is named after one of our Black residents.
Yes.
And it's important to honor that diversity, to honor our shared history and all of the people, from the Buffalo Soldiers to the early white homesteaders to the Yaqui migrants who came here to escape persecution and worked on the fort cutting wood and supporting our ranchers and our homesteaders as laborers and ranchers. It's important to honor all of them. So I ask today, I'm forgetting stuff. Also, Henry Jones. When you look at his character, an unimpeachable character, his family actually hosted the first Catholic services from their home. They went so far as to knock out a wall to provide more room for the congregation, and they were hugely instrumental in the founding and building of St. Andrew's the Apostle Church, including donating money for, I believe, the mantle that you still see there today. He not only looked at the safety and security of our community, but he looked to their spiritual needs as well. He and his family did. So I ask today that you honor him and his legacy in our community, specifically his work in the West End, because at the time our community went from 7th Street to the fort, and the Fab Ave property is in the heart of that. And I come here not just with the Sierra Vista Historical Society support, the support of his descendants, like his granddaughter, Marta Messmer, who's up joining me here today, with the support of Father Adolf, who signed our nomination, although he did say he preferred to be called the Jones Family Park for their work for the Catholic Church. And with the support of Demetria Warren, who is the president of the Southwest Association of Buffalo Soldiers, who also signed on to our application. This was also supported when we nominated it to the Parks and Recreation Commission, and by Director Wilson and City Manager Chuck Patusek, and we hope that you will support it as well. At this time, I'll turn the microphone over to Marta Messmer if she has anything to say, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. I just would like to give you a personal story of my grandfather, which we called Tata. Sorry, Elizabeth really does a great job. So my grandfather, when he was patrolling, nobody asked him to do that. He saw the need and chose to serve the public, and that's how he did it. He would get up, usually at 6, they would have his dinner, and then he would start his walk. He'd walk all night and not come home till like 2 or 3 in the morning. And then if there was anything, obviously you'd contact the sheriff and he would come down. But the businesses saw that he was doing that on his own, and they, on their own, collected money to pay him that he could do that. He did that until the police department was completely set up. He would help. And then the last times he would do, all of you remember the Geronimo Theater, he did their security there for that. So I'll have a different story for you on Thursday. Thank you so much.
Are there any questions?
You should also, come back.
Sorry.
Sorry, there's another little cool one, and I don't remember how it goes, but didn't John Wayne come out to film a movie, and since you're Tata.
Yes.
Yeah. He took care of the horses at the time, right? So.
Correct. So, yeah, so when, I think it was in 1957, John Wayne came here to film several movies, and I guess, and also up on Fort Huachuca, so they asked my grandfather to ride with him, show him where he needed to go and all of that. Well, when my grandfather retired, he did not get to keep his horse or any of that, so John Wayne gave him a horse and a saddle when he left, after the movie, all that filming he did, so.
And a pistol, right?
Right, yeah, pearl handle,
Lord,
Colt 44 pistols.
y'all still have it?
Yes,
You still have it?
I don't have them, but my cousin does, yes.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
That was Thursday's story.
It's just a legacy of a lifetime.
Was that
He'll let me
Thursday's
tell
story?
it. Maybe you
Yeah.
should tell it again. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. Oh, you'll have to do that again on Thursday, right? Yes.
And I
Go
just-
ahead.
Elizabeth, Marta was sharing that you were doing this presentation today when we were at HARW, and she was telling those ladies that you tell her her family story better than anyone else, and you did. You really did a great job. So thank you for all your hard work and passion on this whole project and ongoing. You're preserving a very important part of Sierra Vista, and you can't put a price on that. And I'm glad we have an opportunity to honor him in this way and your family.
Yeah. Reading the history, it's just so amazing how he I tried to walk Frytown, walking it every day. Wow, that's commendable, and thank you for being here, your grandfather. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
No question, just comments. I appreciate all the work that was done with this, and it's important. I agree that everybody knows the history of why this should be named that park and the significance of the West End to your family, your grandfather Paul Jones. And I know in the initial planning of the park, we even mentioned, hey, there's maybe a cool statue, or there's a spot for a statue in the future. So maybe, hopefully, we could partner with an artist or something like that to maybe get a statue of a Buffalo Soldier on the West End, near Buffalo Soldier Trail, which I think would be great. If not, it sounds like it doesn't look like good news for things like museums on military bases right now. So, I mean, if they're not going to do anything with their Buffalo Soldier statue, maybe we can relocate it to that park. I don't know, just thinking outside the box, because it's very important to preserve that history and to know the history. Like you mentioned, yes, Sierra Vista was born in a brothel. If you look at it, really, that's what it was. That was what they made money off of in the past. And no matter if you try to take that from the history books, it's always going to be there. So, the fact that you annotated that and just how far we've come to now, all that's important. And just that little, thanks for doing all the work. And I'm looking forward to seeing whatever this park becomes, and hope it's a good, honors his legacy well.
Any other questions? No
No,
comments?
I just randomly, because I didn't know that he did the patrol part before we had PD, and it's really cool. Is that the reason we have the Buffalo Soldier on the patch?
That's one of the reasons, yeah. I mean,
Because of him
it's always
being
the
like
honor that
the
the Fort Huachuca's been home to the Buffalo Soldiers.
Right.
The Buffalo Soldiers were one of the first symbols of security in this area, and that's why.
That's awesome. Full circle. I love it. All right. Thank you.
Excellent. Any other comments? Go to our next resolution. Resolution is 2025-045. IDA. Mr. Salina, staff report, sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, pleasure to be with you virtually. I will see you on Thursday. You have before you a resolution authorizing issue of education facility revenue bonds for Wake Preparatory Academy. This is a school in North Carolina. They have come to us and want to do a revenue bond issue. Just for a frame of reference, this is the same charter organization group that works with American Leadership Academy. So another school that you've already financed and are familiar with. So this is, again, a revenue bond issue that would be unrated, sold by Robert W. Baird only to accredited investors, or to accredited investors or qualified institutional buyers. The borrower is Wake Preparatory Academy. Wake Prep Holdings is the borrower. They are leasing the school to Wake Preparatory Academy. Now, Wake Preparatory Academy is already operating at this site. They have it under a lease right now, so they are looking to have their affiliated entity purchase this. This is a 501c3 financing. Wake Preparatory Academy is a 501c3 entity, and therefore we've already had a public hearing that the Sierra Vista IDA held on the 3rd of this month, and there will be 2 more public hearings required under the rules for the issuance of tax-exempt bonds as required by bond counsel. So at this time, this is a resolution that is before you as usual, and I will repeat it again. The Sierra Vista IDA nor the city has any obligation. These revenue bonds are payable solely from the revenues of the school. And so I will happy to be answering any questions you might have.
Any questions? All right. No, sir. We'll see you on Thursday.
See you on Thursday. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Then we have our call to the public and comments by the council. Tonight we have real easy agenda. Reports on recent meetings, trips, meetings, and future meetings.
Oh, I remembered that out of
Yeah.
order. Okay.
None. And we do want to have a discussion on a combination of the Transportation Commission and Economic Development Commission. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring up the idea of kind of taking a look at kind of all of our commissions right now. I feel like maybe there hasn't been as much participation, and there's definitely a lot of openings that are on the commissions that it's been very difficult to fill. And I know that there's been some difficulty in the past and some restructuring. And so one of the things that I wanted to kind of bring up and discuss is maybe looking at combining or looking at restructuring the Transportation Commission with the Economic Development Commission, because right now the Transportation Commission is made up mostly of pilots who are very focused on the airport, and they've expressed that they would like to do more and be more active in supporting the airport growth. And we know that that's aligned with our strategic plan of the goal of developing the airport infrastructure to support future growth. And then lately, there's been discussion of maybe holding an open house event to showcase the airport and its potential for economic development. And so a lot of their ideas lean more towards economic development than just transportation. So given that overlap, I think that maybe combining the 2 commissions would be a smart way to kind of help put their skills and knowledge to better use. Because we're also struggling with membership in the Transportation Commission. There's been an open seat that's been tough to fill, and sometimes it might be kind of tough to meet quorum. If somebody is absent, then we can't meet quorum. And so combining these 2 could bring more energy and resources to these 2 important efforts in our community. And it could also help us to achieve our strategic goals a little bit more effectively. So I'd like for us to maybe consider and talk about this. And then looking at some of the other commissions that are out there and some of the overlaps and opportunities to combine efforts in more areas. Because if we're having some of these same efforts and we can combine them and we can use them a little bit better, it might help us kind of make better use of our time and energy and keeping our strategic goals moving forward in the process. So I thought I could bring that forward today.
Okay, good discussion. Council?
Are any of your commissioners are they here?
Yeah, we do have a commission member here, Mr. Gregg.
Because I'm curious about the.
I'm sorry?
Can I ask you some questions?
Certainly.
Sorry, thank you. Because I'm just curious about this open house thing.
Could I introduce myself?
Sure.
My name's Greg Lochran, and I am a member of the Transportation Commission, have been since last year.
Oh, okay. So you're a newer member. Okay.
Well, newer, yes.
Yeah. Well, I sat, I attended those meetings when I was a baby council member, so it's been a little bit, but I know there's been a lot of development out there, at least it's going to be, it's in the works. And so this getting people out to the airport and getting people to look at it and see what we have out there, it's been a priority of the commissions out there for a while. And so I thought once Black Star and possibly this other company showed that they're signed a lease to move forward, that wasn't going to be. So I'm not sure. What are we trying to do? What are we trying to accomplish now with the open house?
Just this past meeting, we submitted to Dr. Landry our concept of what we were hoping to do with the open house, which also laid out what we thought were the driving factors behind that. And yes, as you say, it's raising awareness of the airport in the city and outside of the city, because as you have said, we are in the process of trying to grow there. And having support for growth is a positive thing in our opinion. And the other thing is that we need to get the public engaged. If we are going to support an aerospace activity at the airport, we need people who speak aerospace and can do the things that are needed to do. So that was why we thought bringing the public in would serve two purposes. Yes, sir.
Oh, I was just watching this fly.
There's a fly up here that's really annoying.
Yeah.
Well, so am I.
Okay, thank you. I was trying to understand.
Okay, and who's going to be the target for this open house? Just the service to public, or is it region, Tucson, Phoenix?
Because it does sound more economic development driven, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a commission, like for transportation, like an item they would work on.
Since we haven't had an open house since 2018, the commission thought we should start slowly and ramp up, beginning with local engagement and moving outwards.
Okay. So when you say moving outwards, like not just the airport, maybe also the bus transfer station, and then getting people to, is that kind of?
Yes, but outwards also in attracting people from outside the local area to the airport. But we have to start small because we need to relearn how to do this.
Okay.
And that's probably going to be the commission's signature event for the coming fiscal year. We don't intend to do an open house until perhaps late in fiscal 26, if we can get it done. But Dr. Landry has our approach to it and a request to the council to consider taking this on. Ma'am?
Now we're getting it.
Well, now, I think I understand now
Yeah, now I
why you're.
understand.
Yes,
Okay.
and economic development at the airport is going to be our focus, and that's why we asked the Economic Development Department to partner with us in getting this started.
The Transportation Commission has a mission statement, right? We have a guy. Did they ever write? I know some of the other ones we wrote mission statements.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is off the top.
I'm trying to
but,
see where
yeah.
this falls.
We did redevelop the mission statements, Mr. Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem Humphrey. I don't know. It's tied to the general plan. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what it is either.
Do we put them on the website?
Yeah, I think we do. I think we do. Is there a possibility, and got with assistant city manager, a possibility of going back to quarterly meetings for all commissions? Since we do have a lot of commissions that do not have representation from the council, is there any way we can go back to the policy of just having a quarterly meeting or even a meeting when needed?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor and members of council, it sounds like there may be support for relooking at the commission structure and relooking at the handbook and seeing reviewing the missions of our commissions, the attendance over the past several months, how difficult it's been to get members or not. We keep all of those records and statistics, and coming back to council with another recommendation, as we did several years ago, on a possible restructuring or realignment of your commissions.
Okay.
How many are short of a quorum right now?
I know that we have 2 right now, at least. We have the Commission on Disability Issues and the Environmental Stewardship Commission. Are there any other staff that I'm not thinking of?
Transportation.
Transportation has one seat open.
Transportation. Okay, so at least 3.
So when you say you want to combine it, is it all that, when you guys meet, is it mainly focused on, oh, thank you, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
thank you, sir.
I just left you hanging, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Is it mainly focused on stuff like that?
Yeah, usually, and it seems like some commissions are not as active in some of the activities that they're doing, and some of them are more, they're doing a lot of things, and it seems like there's some members that are raring to go about certain things, and maybe there's overlap. Maybe, I don't know, maybe if we can align some of their passions somewhere, it might help. I don't know, it's just, I don't know.
Maybe if, I mean, it's been a while, obviously, if we've actually heard from the commissions, brief themselves, come give us a briefing of, hey, what's their initiative, what's their goals, what are their struggles, what are they, what do they feel, what are they needing, or what are they not getting, or what do they want to do differently? I would love to hear that. I mean, we have some council liaisons, but obviously we're missing council members now, so that's an issue. So do we directly have a, whatever you want to call it, a commission day, I don't know, and have them just give us a short thing of, here's where we were, here's where we are now, here's kind of where we want to go, and then see if, okay, this commission sounds very similar to this one, or you have similar goals in mind, maybe we can huddle up so that we all get input, they can all have input together into this possible restructure. That's just my thought. Because we can't do it from up here. It's not our thing. I mean, we support the commissions, but
Right.
it's the public. It's their ideas, their initiatives, their goal that they present to whoever the council member is. That or however it's going to go now, and then it gets fed or should get fed to everybody from there. But if that's not possible right now, then I think something like that would be one of the other ways to do it. Whether it's a formal meeting or not, just maybe something informal. Either way.
Actually, it's a good idea. Give them about 90-day leeway time.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good idea. Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
still struggling with this commission maybe not having I don't know that it would fit just based off what we got going on at the Economic Development Commission, but I understand the issue that you're bringing up.
Well, how about we just get their feedback?
Yeah, I like that.
Get their feedback and see what they think about it, and then we go from there. Because I mean, that's gonna be the best is their feedback. And
They're
how we should
presenting,
go. Exactly.
telling us what they need, and we evaluate.
Correct.
Yeah, because I feel like some commissions I've talked to, they just feel like they're spinning their wheels and they have no support, or they're just doing the same ideas over and over and nothing's really happening. So we got to figure out where they need the energy, how to energize them, or if they've been asking for something, they haven't got it yet, they're probably not going to want to be in that commission anymore. They're just going to leave, which I think has happened to a few people. So I would love to hear directly from them, just see what they're thinking. Obviously, some commissions we don't have that issue. We have people waiting for spots all the time. So it's not every commission, but
Well, I don't know that all these commissions are still serving the same purpose. Like, I know why, we had a reason for Cody, right? The ADA wasn't always a thing. Like, the laws in place today weren't always in place. Now we have, they're weaved into everything we do. We have to comply and make everything, the website has to be up to standards, so like Cody, I understand why they don't have a quorum. That people show up, they're like, oh, what more do we have to add to what's already been written into law? So I think that's part of it. Like, historically, I'm not sure what transportation did as a commission. I'm looking at Sharon because maybe you know. I don't know.
So historically, the Transportation Commission is a fairly new thing. Prior to that, there was a Transit Advisory Group and there was the Airport Commission. So I think they were put together with the hope that there would be a greater transportation focus, but it's hard to always find representation from all sectors.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I forgot about the Transportation Advisory Group
Yeah.
that I went to many times.
And
I s-
Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Humphrey, the other genesis of the Transportation Commission was when we did the last realignment of the commissions. Council decided to tie them more closely to general plan sections, and so there is a transportation section of the general plan. And so the original intent for them was to advise on things like pedestrian-friendly streets, ADA improvements on sidewalks, multi-use paths, other transportation and transit-related issues. And so one thing that we could look at for that commission also is, would it make more sense to, if there's a airport and economic development focus and there's a desire and we have a need for advice on general plan specific items, would it make more sense to have transportation or airport focused commissioners go to economic development and transportation focused multimodal transportation, so on and so forth, maybe advise the neighborhood commission, which is doing neighborhood assessments, and that's part of their focus. So looking at things like that is also an option.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
I completely forgot that we just created transportation. Like, cause I forgot we merged those two.
But I second
Yeah.
Councilman Rodriguez's recommendation of having them come to present, give us more information to make a decision on it. Council?
I think with the new council members coming, that would probably especially be good.
Yeah, most definitely. So let's look out, 120 days? Because it's gonna go fast.
Unless somebody else leaves, we should be able to do this in a few
Yeah,
in
no
a few
one else
months.
quit, please, for a while.
We should be able to do this in the next 60 days, I would think, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Can we make a motion to ban anyone from moving out of the city?
Okay.
Well, any more discussion on
Do
it?
that.
Yeah. Is that that's okay.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we'll look at September or October for presentations.
Yes, ma'am. All right, cool. All right, so we'll go to item number Charlie, future discussion items and council requests. Ma'am?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You've got your overall budget work session scheduled for this Monday and Tuesday, should you need it. So that's what's coming up on our agenda, and I don't have anything yet for your second meeting.
Oh, excellent. I think that's it. Anything else from the dais? All right, we are adjourned until Thursday. We'll see you then.